Good afternoon. The court is going to take up the next case on the court's docket. This is cause number 3471. This is in the interest of Jaden Sanchez and Gavin Sanchez. The case is set for an initial permanency hearing, and I believe it's also set relating to your motion for monitor return. The hearing today is being conducted pursuant to emergency orders of the Texas Supreme Court via Zoom video conference. Participating in the hearing today on behalf of the department is Caseworker Cassandra Bros, Supervisor Isabella Reyes, and Regional Attorney Jason Jett. The mother of the children is Brooks Guerrero, and she is participating in the hearing today. The court had previously appointed Chris Flores as her attorney ad litem, and Mr. Flores had to withdraw from the suit because of a change of employment. And the court has appointed Todd Simons as substitute attorney ad litem for her. Mr. Simons, my understanding, is currently in district court, but hopefully he'll be able to join us here in just a moment. The father of the children is Christian Sanchez, and he is participating in the hearing today along with his attorney of record, Gonzalo Rios. Madeline Smith is the attorney ad litem for both of the children in this case. The Casa Guardian ad litem representatives for the children are Connie Gowain and Beverly Henderson, both of whom are participating in the hearing today. The current caregiver for the children, as I understand it, is Gabriela Guzman, a paternal grandmother of the children. The children are excused from participating in the hearing. I note that Mr. Simons is now in the hearing today. All right. As I noted before, this is set for initial permanency hearing, but I understood there was also some motions for monitoring. I believe the respondent parents have filed in the case. I would propose to take those up as part of the hearing today. Mr. Jett, is the department ready to proceed at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you clarify what other motions are taken up for the amended hearing?
My understanding is the respondent father had filed a motion for monitor return, and I believe I read in my file that the mother had also filed one or was requesting that. And I believe that was also in the department's report in the case. So I'm assuming the part of the issue at today's hearing would be whether or not a monitor return should be granted to one of the other parents in the case, and if so, who.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I just didn't hear what you had said. Yes, we're ready to proceed.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Simons, are you ready to proceed?
Judge, I'm not. I just got back from vacation, and as soon as we got back, my father-in-law had a stroke and he died yesterday. So I just met with Brooke this morning or this afternoon maybe, but I'd like to be able to spend a little more time with her before we take up the issue of the monitored return and figure out what everybody's position is, et cetera.
All right, thank you. Mr. Rios, are you ready to proceed with the hearings?
We're ready, Your Honor.
And Ms. Smith, are you ready to proceed?
I'm ready, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Simon, just for the record, you're requesting, as it relates to any motion for monitor return, that the court grant a continuance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Jett, do you have a position on that?
Your Honor, one day I'm going to be in this, so I'm not going to ask him to proceed if he's not ready.
Okay, I apologize. I'm not sure where this is coming from. Just a second. Let me see if I can figure out. Mr. Jett, let's try that again. Can you tell me your position on the motion?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, if Mr. Simons isn't prepared, one day I'm going to be in his position, and I kind of look at it like karma, Your Honor. If I need to reset for a reason like Mr. Simons, then I don't want to be the reason that he had to go today. So that's fine, Your Honor. He needs the latitude to be ready and to take care of his issue.
Mr. Rios, do you have a position on the request from continuance on as it relates to the monitored return?
Yes, John, I do not oppose resetting that, but I would like to have a hearing on other matters.
Okay. And there may be other matters you want to get into. From reading the reports, I'm assuming you're wanting to address the father's visitation.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Smith, any objection to the continuance as it relates to the monitored return?
I have no objection, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And all right. Well, I do think it's probably appropriate for Mr. Simons to have a continuance as it relates to the monitored return. I do believe we can go ahead and take up the initial permanency hearing today. And I'll proceed with that, and I'll try to get a setting for the hearings and the monitored return once we complete the hearing and try to get a setting out to everybody on that. But I would propose to proceed at this point on the monitored return. On the initial permanency hearing, and during that, if there's an issue about altering the visitation of the parents in the case, we can certainly address that as part of the testimony today. All right, I'm going to ask, let's see, Mrs. Guerrero, Mr. Sanchez, Ms. Guzman, and Ms. Gawain, and Ms. Henderson. If each of you would raise your right hands, please. Each of you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give today before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right. I do. And before we go further, I also see somebody on my screen under the designation Hutter's iPhone. If you're on that device, could you identify yourself for the court, please?
Yes, sir. I am Robin Hutto. I was Jaden Sanchez's kindergarten teacher.
Judge, and she was here for us on the hearing on the monitored return, so we can excuse her at this point. That was the purpose that I had asked her to be on today.
Okay. Well, unless there's any objection, I'll excuse her from being on the hearing today, and you can let her know when we get the hearing reset. Bring her back. Okay.
Objection.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Hutto, you're free to leave the hearing at this point. All right. If we're ready to proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. If we're ready to proceed, Mr. Getz, you can call your first witness. I'm sorry.
I'd like to call Ms. Gross.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please give your name for the record.
Cassie Bros,
And Ms. Gross, how are you employed?
CVS conservatorship worker.
And are you assigned to the Sanchez children and family?
Yes, I am.
What can you tell us about the mother's compliance with her service plan?
The mother has been compliant on her service plan. She has gotten her own apartment that she shares with her sister. She is now currently employed at Shannon Health Women and Children's Hospital in the janitorial system. She has supplied the department with a budget to show her income and expenses and how she can provide for the children. She has completed her parenting classes at the Pregnancy Help Center. She has attended the visits when they were supervised and is currently on unsupervised visits with the children on the 2nd and 4th weekend. She maintains monthly contact with the department. She's provided the department with a relapse prevention plan. She is participating in counseling with Mr. Flores, who has provided her psychosocial and continues to provide her counseling. She completed her ADAC outpatient services on June the 8th. She continues to test negative on UA test and had a hair follicle in May, which was negative as well. She completed her domestic violence survivor classes at the family shelter. And at the last family group conference, it was suggested that she continue on a personal basis to be able to detect any red flag issues that would come up in a relationship if she proceeds with a relationship in the future.
All right. How long has she been clean?
She has been clean. The first UA test that the department sent her for was in March, and she's been clean at every UA test that she's been sent to.
All right. And while we're not talking about monitored returns today, usually we like to see a few months sobriety before we return children to a parent. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And are we getting close to that with Ms. Guerrero?
The department feels that we are, yes.
All right. Are there any barriers to reunification at this time?
Not for the department, no, sir.
All right. Concerning the father, what about his compliance with the service plan?
Mr. Sanchez has also been compliant with the service plan. He has a home in El Dorado. He has stated that he's not sure whether he's going to remain in that home because he's planning on going to school at ASU in the fall. And so at this time, he's not sure whether he's going to remain in El Dorado or move to San Angelo, but he does have plans. He has completed his, parenting classes at the Pregnancy Help Center. He does participate in his visits. At this time, he is having supervised visits by Ms. Guzman. He does maintain monthly contact with the department. He has, as of May 27th, he had started his anger management classes, and I was notified that he has completed 3 as of this time. After speaking with the counselors at the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council, it was determined that Mr. Sanchez did not need to do any outpatient services. He continues to test negative on his UAs. He did have a hair follicle that came back as positive for marijuana, but that was because it was body hair, which can go back for a year. And he paid for his own test, which the department accepted and was negative whenever he had his hair follicle on June the 7th.
You said he had a test that was positive. What was the positive for?
A 0.9 level of marijuana, but it was for body hair, which goes back for an entire year.
Okay, all right. And since then, there's been other tests that have been clean, you said?
Yes, he did go and do a hair follicle from the head of his hair from his head that he paid for himself, that the department accepted the test results for, that was negative, which goes back to 3 months.
Okay, all right.
And Mr. Sanchez has.
Is there anything?
I'm sorry.
Is there anything left to do on his service plan?
Well, he's completed his BIP program, and he is on probation for his legal issues with domestic violence. And he started his counseling on July the 7th that he completed his psychosocial for, that I'm still waiting on the results of. And he has a counseling session scheduled for the end of this month. And that's all. So it's counseling and his anger management to complete.
All right. Are there any barriers to reunification at this time?
When the department staffed at the end of, or the middle of June, it was stated that the department would like to see Mr. Sanchez get started with his counseling, because at that time he hadn't started, and get a few sessions, and finish a few more of his anger management sessions.
All right. Where are these children placed now?
With their paternal grandmother.
All right. And geographically, where is that?
In El Dorado.
How are they doing there?
The children are doing very well with their placement, yes.
Medical and dental up to date.
Yes, the medical and dental are up to date, and Gavin just turned 3 and he completed his CANS assessment yesterday.
What is the plan for these children in this family?
Family reunification.
There's an issue, or has been an issue raised about the father's visitation. Is there a possibility of raising that visitation to more or a different kind of supervision?
I have on the calendar to staff with the program director for June the 29th, or July 29th, I'm sorry, for unsupervised visits again, to request unsupervised visits for Mr. Sanchez.
All right. So the department can't make a recommendation about that right now. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you'd like to add about these children or this family?
Not at this time.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Brose. Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to pass the witness.
Thank you. Mr. Rios, any questions?
Yes. Ms. Brose, the tasks that my client has not done have basically been because the provider has not followed up and given my client the services necessary. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
So the fact that he hasn't done all his services pretty much is because it's been hard for him to get the providers to call him back and set up services. And there's been a delay in that time frame. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And yet that is the exact reason why the department at this point is saying that they don't feel that they can move to unsupervised visits, because he hasn't done the services that they want him to do. They want him to do a few more meetings. Is that correct, on the counseling?
That was whenever we staffed in June, and he has since began counseling. And so I have requested a staffing at the first available opportunity to request for unsupervised visits once more.
Okay. But that's not your call today, is it?
No, sir.
You indicated that mother has done the services. When you had a situation where she did not disclose someone she was seeing, is that correct?
It was brought to my attention that there was a possibility that she was seeing someone. She gave me his information, said they were friends, not in a intimate relationship. I ran his background, let her know that he was not appropriate to be around the children, and she broke off, informed the department that she broke off ties with that person.
But she was not the one that was forthcoming with that information, was she? You heard that from another source, is that correct?
That is correct.
And then you confronted her, you asked her about it, and then she told you what was going on. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Who is this person?
That Mr. Sanchez and Ms. Guzman.
Who is the person that she was seeing that she did not disclose to you that y'all have a problem with her being around? Who is this person?
Mr. Garcia.
What's his name? Can you tell me his complete name?
I believe it's Juan Garcia, but I'm not positive without looking back in the records.
Okay. You said that was not somebody that you would approve of her being around. Certainly you wouldn't approve of the children being around him also. Is that correct?
I told her that it would not be an appropriate place for the children to be around.
Okay. Now, in comparison, my client has told you about the person that he's been involved with. Is that correct?
Initially, he told me that they were just friends. And then at the last family group conference, he did inform me that they had become more than just friends.
Okay, but when you asked him, he told you who was around him, correct?
Correct.
And you were able to verify who it was and run a history on that person to make sure that they were appropriate. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that person that he talked to you about, you have no problem with that person being around the children. Is that correct?
Her criminal and CPS history are clean. Yes.
Okay, so there's no indicators there that give you concern at this point. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Does mom have unsupervised visits?
Yes, she has.
Since when?
Since the end of June is when the department approved for her to have unsupervised visits.
So about 2 weeks ago, you're saying the end of June, about 20 days ago?
Or 30, the last part of the last week of June to the now, yes.
Okay. And what kind of visits does my client have at this point, right now?
Supervised visits supervised by Miss Guzman. It was increased to 4 to 6 hours a week, I think.
4 to 6 hours a week?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what kind of visits does mom have that are unsupervised? What is her schedule?
The second and fourth weekend of the month.
From what time to what time?
Friday at 7 p.m. until Sunday at 7 p.m.
Okay. So what you're telling the court here today is that the concerns that you had about the last time it was staffed, that those concerns have been alleviated to a certain extent because my client has continued to engage in the services that you want him to perform, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Do you, Mr. Simons, any questions?
I said no questions, but I'm the only one who heard me. Sorry about that, Judge, but I don't have anything.
All right, thank you. Ms. Smith, any questions?
Just briefly, Your Honor. In regards to the children, I know they're pretty rambunctious. I think there was an ER visit not long ago. I guess that's all healed up at this point.
Yes, ma'am.
Any concerns other than that regarding their health?
No, ma'am.
And is counseling going well?
I'm actually counseling. Mr. Flores said he has not seen Jaden at all yet.
Okay. Do we know when that's scheduled?
So,
Do
yes,
we know
ma'am.
when that's scheduled to happen?
I do not. I will follow up with Ms. Guzman and with Mr. Flores and maybe contact another counselor to see if they are able to get him in.
Okay. Regarding the person that Ms. Guerrero was allegedly associating with, what was he accused of? What was the reasoning behind him being inappropriate to be around the children?
The domestic violence on his criminal record.
Has the department followed up to ensure that that person, Mr. Garcia, is not around the children during the unsupervised visits?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how has the department done so?
I've asked Ms. Guerrero to keep a list of everything that they do during their visits, and I've also asked her sister who lives with her if there's anyone been around while the children have been at her apartment.
Okay. And is her apartment in San Angelo?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any other concerns regarding the children at this time?
No, ma'am.
So as far as the department's concerned, is it safe to say that it's, as far as stability goes and the honesty with the department, is that a concern on the
After
part
her,
of Ms. Guerrero?
after the initial issue with Mr. Garcia, there have been no other concerns about her honesty. She's been open about everything since then. So currently, no, there are no concerns.
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jett. Do you have any additional questions?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Rios, did you have any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Simons?
No, sir.
And Mr. Jett, do you have other witnesses?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
And Mr. Rios, did you have any witness you want to call?
My client, Your Honor, Mr. Sanchez.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sanchez, you were sworn in, I believe, previously, and you remain under oath. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Rios.
Thank you. Mr. Sanchez, are you asking the court today to give you unsupervised visits, to allow you to have unsupervised visits with your children?
Yes, I am.
The services that you've done, have you done everything that you can under your power to complete at this point?
Yes, I have. I've did my best, or I've done my best to complete everything that they've asked me to do.
The ones that the tasks that you have not completed, what has been the problem from your point of view?
The only thing that they've asked me not to, or the only thing that they've asked me to do that I have left to do is anger management, and then other than that, it's the counseling, which, like you mentioned earlier, they've delayed and continued to, I guess, push off my time with them. You know, if all of my counseling could have been scheduled in the early parts of March or even February, as soon as this whole case started, I'm pretty sure all of this would have been taken care of a long time ago.
Are you still waiting to start the counseling, or has it started?
I did my first counseling session on the 7th, and then I was not scheduled another counseling session until the 22nd.
And that was July 7th?
July 7th, and my next schedule is on the 27th.
Okay. And who are you doing?
22nd, excuse me. Sorry?
Who are you doing the counseling with?
Mr. Angel Flores.
And is that the one that you're going to have the counseling with on the 22nd as well?
Yes.
Okay. Other than that, have you done all the other services?
Yes, I have. Other than the anger management, the anger management was, excuse me, sorry. The anger management was suggested for me to do. And whenever I had gone, or when it was first initially stated, there was no actual required time for me to actually do the anger management. So I didn't know how many actual classes to attend until I actually attended one of the meetings, and it was actually recommended, or it was actually said to me that usually CPS recommends doing 8 classes, and I attended 3 out of the 8, and I probably could have attended 7 or even all 8 by.
Okay, you're breaking up. Wherever you move to, you're kind of breaking up now. We can't hear you.
And Mr.
Can you hear me right?
Yes, sir. I think you're going to need to repeat your last answer relating to anger management classes.
Right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, anger management was suggested to me at the time. Whenever it was suggested to me on the family plan, there was no actual precise hours of anger management I'm supposed to be attending. There was no required time for the anger management. And then when I went to the very first anger management, the counselor that was there, she asked me how many hours I was recommended, and I told her I did not know. And that I had asked her, how many hours do they usually recommend? And she said that usually a lot of times CPS recommends doing 8 hours of counseling sessions for anger management.
And you say you've done 3?
Yes, I've done 3. I'm going to attend my 4th one this Thursday. I could have done probably all 7 or 8 by now, but I've had to work. I work nights from 5 to 5. So me working nights, it makes it really hard for me to even attend, and I work out of town.
Who are you doing the classes with?
Maria, I believe is her name. I don't know her last name.
Okay. And the children are living with your mother?
Yes.
And do you see them every week there at your mom's house, or how does that go?
Right now, I really don't see them quite often because I've been working the past 2 months pretty regularly. If I do have any time to see them, it's usually when I'm about to leave to work, which is usually 30 minutes at the most. It's usually just to say bye to them. And then I believe yesterday I was able to see them for a couple hours there at my mom's house, and that's about it. I haven't been able to see them very much because of work.
Okay. So you're asking the court to expand your visits. So how is that going to work? I mean, if you don't have time to see them, then why are you asking for more time?
If I had more time with my kids, I would definitely. I would spend more time with my kids.
Or would you make arrangements at work, or what are you saying?
Yes, of course. And when I'm off, like right now, I'm off for like a whole week. If I had more time, to be with the kids, or even arranged visits, scheduled weekends and stuff, I would definitely make time for my kids.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Jett, any questions?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Where do you work, sir?
Right now I work for Nighthawk Energy Services, doing flowback services in the oil field.
Okay. And what is your work schedule like?
It's pretty unpredictable. Usually when we're pretty busy, I work quite a bit. At the time, I don't have an actual schedule with them because I haven't talked to them about setting up a schedule with me as far as work. If I absolutely had to, I'm sure it could be arranged. But right now I'm working nights. Right now I'm off for about a week, probably until sometime next week. And then after that, I believe we'll be on another job, which usually the jobs last about a week.
Okay. So you never know when you're going to be working and when you're not going to be working? Is that about
That's
accurate?
correct. That's correct, sir. And unless I have a precise schedule, which I don't have set up with them at the moment, I'm trying to work as much as I can, to be honest.
Pass the witness.
Thank you. Mr. Simons, any questions?
No questions.
And Ms. Smith.
Anything I had was asked and answered, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rios, did you have any other questions for this one?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have other witness you want to call, Mr. Rios?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Simons, do you have any witness you want to call?
No, sir.
And Ms. Smith.
Oh, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right. Regarding the issue of visitation, Ms. Smith, do you have any position for the father's visitation as to his request?
Your Honor, as long as I understand that he's trying to work as much as he can to get in a position to where he can take care of his family and earn a good living. As long as those issues are straightened out, I don't oppose him having a similar visitation scheduled to moms in this case.
All right. See, Ms. Gowan or Ms. Henderson, who would be testifying on behalf of CASA as a guardian ad litem? That'd be Ms. Henderson and you, Ms. Gowan.
Your Honor, it would be Beverly if she so wants. If she would rather it be me, then I can.
No, I don't mind. Thank you, Connie. Visiting with Christian, understanding his schedule has been enlightening. Also, the problems that he had with getting counseling arranged, again, that was out of his control. But I do have a question about the anger management class. He went through BIP. Would that not have included anger management? That question may be for Cassie.
Well, Ms. Henderson, I don't mean to put this the wrong way, but technically right now you're testifying and you can ask me questions, but even if I know, which I don't know the answer to this one, I'm not going to be answering them. You can address that with her that they may be covered. It may be a relevant question. It seems like I would assume BIP classes would probably cover anger management, but I don't really know that. But right now, what I need to know from you is if you have a position as to whether the father's visit should be increased and be unsupervised or not. That's what I would like to do. And then all the other attorneys may have some questions for you on your testimony.
Yes, I believe that the visits should be increased and unsupervised.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll start with Mr. Jett. Do you have any questions for Ms. Henderson about her position?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what she said. I did not hear her position. I'm sorry.
She indicated the visit should be increased and unsupervised.
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Rios, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Simons, any questions?
No, sir.
And Ms. Smith, any questions?
Questions, Judge?
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else from the department, Mr. Jett, particularly as it relates to the visitation?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Rios, any closing on that visitation issue?
No, sir.
Mr. Simons?
No, sir.
All right. Well, it appears to me, well, first, I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue the children in the current placement at this point in time. I'm not going to alter the mother's visitation. It appears to me that the father has made progress on the service plan, and he should be given some unsupervised visits. The issue is going to be really kind of one of scheduling, given his work situation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to order the department to work with him and the caregivers to set up, he can have up to 8 hours of unsupervised visits a week to be scheduled. That can be in one setting or multiple settings, not overnight, but it would be during the day. Since he works at night anyway, I think that'd be a moot point, but those can be broken up into more and more sessions. You'll just need to work out something with him where you know what's going on so you can kind of monitor how those are going. But I'll start it with that, and then we'll be setting a hearing on the motion for monitor return. And of course, depending on the outcome of that, we may alter that visitation schedule depending on what happens on any placement of the children with one or the other of the parents. But those will be the orders of court at this point. For now, the next hearing in the case will be set on October 21st, 2021 at 10 a.m. That's a permanency hearing and pretrial. The trial remains set December 16th, 2021 at 2 p.m. And the dismissal date is January 7th, 2022. My court administrator will get back with y'all on the setting for the hearing on the motion for monitor return, and we'll take that up at that time, and that'll be prior to that October date, I'm sure. Okay. All right. Unless there's anything else for today, I will remind the parents that because of the nature of these proceedings, your parental custodial rights and duties to your children may be subject to restriction or even termination, and your progress under any court orders or plans of service will be reviewed at future hearings in this case. Each of the parents appears to be doing well on their services, and so I would encourage you to continue to work on your service plans as we go forward in the case. You're both getting some visitation with your children. I would encourage you to keep in mind that when you have the children in your care, you're responsible for them. And that includes being responsible for who's around them. So you need to be careful with who you allow to have access to the children, because your judgment on that could affect your rights in this case. Ms. Gawain, did you have something else you wanted
I'm
to
sorry, Your Honor, but I do have a suggestion, just a suggestion on the monitor return coming up. I just think that a mediation would help so much, if that we might be able to work it out.
Well, if somebody wants to file a motion and ask for a mediator beforehand on the issue of bond's return, I guess we could, I'd certainly consider that. Since my understanding, both parents want a bond return, they may be able to work something out on that. I don't know, but I'll leave that up to y'all. If somebody wants to file a motion and ask for monitor mediation, if you think there's a realistic prospect, I don't want to have everybody show up at a mediation when there's really no chance. If the parents are each adamant in their position as to whether that they ought to have the child in their care, I'm not sure that a mediation would resolve that issue, but it might. So I'm open to it, but I'm not going to order at this point unless the parties believe there's a reasonable basis we could resolve it by that method. So if somebody wants to file a motion before we have the hearing set, I'll certainly consider that. All right, thank you. And with that, we'll be adjourned for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.